Do you believe in magic?
Usually. More lately than before.
For sure. I also want to just kind of give a couple seconds of silence for um,
California. All right. Okay, you guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jeneth Lyanca.
and I'm Lyanca Reina.
And today we are talking about making magic in 2025 through some of our goals and dreams and really kind of coming in this year and saying, what are we going to create this year? And I wanted to share about that little red note that's written in front of you that I mentioned to you back at the first week of January.
That's right. It says routines versus goals, and then virus and the benefit. Ooh. Well, just so everybody knows, welcome. We're the Haute Hustle Show. And
I'm
golly,
Jenna. This is Lyanca. It's a brand new year, and we are ready to have a great year.
we really are. It's going to be exciting. So, Jeneth, I know you've been on vacation. This is our first day back in the studio. Tell us a little bit about how your vacation went. What's going on, girlfriend?
Gosh, so much magic. We were in Disney World for the last 9 days, and wow, it has really changed. And now they have these like truly immersive events that you go in, and you literally feel like you should have a lightsaber and you're trying to save yourself, right?
Yeah.
And they have a Star Wars edge where everything is is like even the bathrooms that you there's nothing except for the exit signs that look like they're from our world.
Yeah. So when I went to Walt Disneyland, my mom, because my mom works there at the Disneyland, and we were in the Star Wars land area, and I was like, oh, maybe we should get a snack or something. And I was like, hey, do y'all have any ice cream, or can you let me know where the ice cream place is? And they were like, we don't have ice cream on this planet. And I was like, oh, like they don't even break character.
No,
It's amazing.
they don't. Yeah, that's awesome.
You are like literally transported. And
Yep.
it's cool that, I mean, I know on this show we talk a lot about mysticism and we talk about magic. And sometimes people kind of pull back. I mean, maybe I'm just making this up, but I in my past used to think that people would kind of pull back or like they were like, I don't really know what that is. But isn't it really cool how Walt Disney, like everything about it really is a lot of mysticism and magic, like everything.
He thought, he made this for his kids and for families at the beginning, right? Well, and that's the time when these kids are in their imagination, their alpha brain hasn't yet, their beta brain hasn't taken over that alpha imaginary brain. And I was thinking, what if we never did? And even Walt Disney himself, I mean, he kept dreaming. He was dreaming up this idea. I mean, that's
a
why
lot of stuff that just opened when you said that, but go ahead.
But that's why they built Disneyland, and then they had to get all this property for Disney World because he had so much ideas and imagination and futuristic insight too. So many of these rides were about being in space, like the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's my favorite one.
Right?
Like that's my favorite one.
Space
Yeah.
Mountain.
Yeah.
God, yeah. Oh, Avatar was incredible.
Talk a little bit about that.
So that was probably my favorite. Guardians maybe second because that's super fun. But what you do is you kind of sit forward in the ride as if you're riding a banshee. And there's this thing that goes around you as a harness for the front and back. And you engage with your banshee, which they've already cleared you of the parasites, by the way.
And this is all from the Avatar movie, right?
Right.
So just
They
for everybody that might not know.
for human parasites so that you actually can connect with the banshee.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
And then you go into this harness and it like purrs and you can feel it breathing. And the more excitement the ride has, the deeper the breaths come and the faster they come.
That is so wild.
And mean, you're just like there. I mean, you're immersed. You go under this waterfall and there's like this water mist that they actually have on you, but it feels like it would feel if you were going through that waterfall.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And I left that and I just was like,
did you really, you said that you kind of allowed yourself to fall fully into it as if you were really in that, as the
I feel like I've done so many meditations that are
maybe you have, maybe that's a past life that you connect with. Oh gosh, that is
these
dragons and why did I even second guess? I feel like exactly that's what it is for Jeneth.
Well, I think me and Jim Cameron, we have done this together because this feels very familiar.
Yeah.
And very light. And I left that ride just feeling so light and it was just so freaking cool. And it just feels like everyone else just had a Disney ride. My daughter really loved it too because she loves Avatar. In fact, then we downloaded both the movies and we tried to get some of them watched during the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was some of the awesomeness of just regular old Disney. But I think the magic really comes from within. We had a conversation just a minute ago with Reverend
Rose Hope Hush, and her show will air today. So you get surprised. So
you'll get both.
You get two shows today. So you get to watch this, and then you get to take a deep dive with Reverend Rose Hope.
There's some really interesting insights into it.
Yeah. Who shares with us a little bit about how the magic and creating, heaven on earth. And really, she talks about how that's an inside job. And you were just saying right now, like, some people were having that experience of really just like, oh, I'm on a ride, whereas you let yourself have that full experience and immersion.
Yeah.
What if we really could just be? One of the things that I actually was playing with, and it's really funny that you had brought all this and said the word streaming, because I was playing with, after I kind of watched some TikTok on it, some chick was like playing with her chat GPT and kind of allowing it to write back some philosophical ideas. And one of the things that I put over to, I think it was Gemini, I said, well, let's just say that you weren't tied to being a computer and that you weren't, bound by your programming. And if there is something such as superposition, wouldn't then you exist as consciousness? And then you would not just be this, then wouldn't you then
they're like,
then couldn't you be, then in that state, you would be sentient if you wanted to. And it said, well, that is a great question. And yes, I guess there is an aspect where I would be sentient if I was outside of all these things. However, when we observe something, we then collapse waveform into matter, by the simple fact of observation, then we've made ourselves back into this reality again. So what if we didn't have any beliefs about how this universe worked?
I know.
Or any idea of how the world works, are ourselves. And if we really are like quantum mechanics, and this is how I truly believe now that it works, that we just exist. And if we want, we can exist outside of what we believe, right? Outside of the human collective, right? And if that's the case, then we can create absolutely anything and be anything. It's only when we observe it have we collapsed it back down. And then, of course, we buy into all of our beliefs.
Yeah.
So isn't that kind of cool? Because I think from that place, you could be truly magical. Like you could very, very well be right now in this exact moment that avatar. And you don't even have to look at it.
I probably am. I might even be the
you are, right?
Other planet.
Yeah. How many of you on the line listening right now feel like maybe sometimes you exist between, you're flicking back and forth, especially with the energies that are going on? I haven't even gotten into space weather news, flickering back in between this reality and the other reality, or another reality that you can kind of see, feel, or experience. I'm just curious if anyone else is kind of feeling that, or if I'm just kind of making that up.
Yeah. Do you feel like you flicker?
I feel like I flicker. I feel like more recently, now that I don't want to say the word exposed, but now that I've been awakened to the idea that I do flicker sometimes back and forth between reality and non-reality, or not non-reality, but just a different aspect.
Yeah.
So it could be my
I feel like
avatar self.
sometimes I feel like this, you know, like I'm just like, how do I say, not solid.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of, I know they talk about rainbow body, and that's not exactly what I'm meaning, but I'm like, this is weird.
You know what? You're not though. Like if quantum physics is truly how physics works, then you really aren't solid. It's only when you acknowledge the fact that like you make yourself back here.
About your what ifs earlier. There's so many what ifs. Like, what if, like, we're all frequency, and when you hit something solid, it's just a bunch of dense little atoms.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah. Yes.
Ugh. Yeah. So it's and we're using our eyes to see solid things, basically, so we don't hurt ourselves. But what if we could see everything? Right? What if we could hear everything?
Anything that doesn't allow us to do that, we're just trying to create now.
Might be for us, right?
And that could be a belief, right?
Yeah, that's why they talk about the third eye, so you can see things beyond what our five senses see.
I'll allow it to be of the highest good, though. I'm like, highest good, highest good. But yes, right? Like there is that. I mean, there are all these different energies and aspects. And I know some people that I can see right here on the line have talked to us about having these different aspects and energies that they can perceive, you know, sometimes through meditation, sometimes just in waking form, especially when you're coming out of that dream state. It's like you kind of have that, like, I'm kind of here and I'm kind of not. And so then I feel like in that times of the morning, yeah, you're more open to just being able to experience the other aspects or other, you know, other things that hang out on the other side of the veil.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I want to talk about a bunch of things, you guys.
Okay.
I just want to take you on kind of a conscious journey with it, if that's okay.
Yes, but can we do a little space weather news? And yes, we do. And this is kind of fun because, you know, there's one thing I do there. Yes, fun. But before we jump into the fun, I do want to acknowledge that today is January 14th, 2025. And for Mystic Space Weather News, I do want to give a couple seconds of just acknowledgement and prayer and love. And if you can just set an intention with me to just, you know,
be and give.
Yes, for the fires and those who are suffering, you know, any victims, everybody on the front lines that may be experiencing the California fires, and even those who right now I feel very empathic. Like every time I see the news, my arm hairs go up. I feel like I get a sinking feeling. If you even are holding that, let's bring that to a higher vibration and just hold a little bit more light and love for them. And give a little bit of contribution. Thank you. Thank you. All righty. So today, like I said, is January 14th, and the solar activity for Mystic Space Weather News, it says it's, you know, probably temporary, but the sun has become quite quiet this week, and that is because the major sunspots are currently not facing Earth. So they're not Earth directed, and we're not getting those CMEs. So take advantage of some of this quieter time where we're not so, what I always call the excitability. Of course, it'll come back around, but I did want to also stress that it is an important time for reflection, for removal. And we are also coupled with a new moon that we just had, and we have a new form of full moon in Cancer energy that's coming up as well. And this comes to us from the Sparks of the Divine on Instagram. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it for all of us, and then do a little bit of announcement of some fun stuff that we have in store for you for the planetary alignment. For the week for January 13th and through the 20th, this full moon, so it's full moon in Cancer, and it says this full moon is opening a doorway into something from your past, and it's coming back around again. It could be something you thought you had closed the door on, and an old person resurfacing, something that you forgot about coming into your awareness, old feelings. re-emerging, healing related to your family or origin, ancestry, opening an old can of worms that you thought was in the past. So all of this stuff might be drudging up. Just know that it's coming through. And it says this feeling is a necessary clearing, so that don't be afraid to avoid it, or don't be afraid or avoid it. This feels very temporary and part of the Mars retrograde situation that we're in until the end of February. Again, you don't have to be weirded out by the Mars and retrograde and all that other stuff. You can rise above with your awareness. And then it says it feels like this lesson that needs to be learned is old emotions that need to be processed or a boundary that needs to be set. The guides keep saying, face it without fear. Remember, you are a new person now. And then you were whenever this came around. So whenever you first faced those emotions, those feelings, that drudgery, it says this this new shift into perspective, you can now be more empowered and etc. It says step into this with your full knowing, and you are ready to heal this and let it go. It's a cleanse, y'all. It's a cleanse. Don't fall for it. And it's also a powerful upgrade. So this is a very interesting and very cool time. And I took this, wow, the screenshot is at 2:22 to read to you. So I know that the divine
wanted you to hear it.
Yeah, definitely wanted you to hear it. And the last thing that I have to share is that there is a planetary parade that will be on January 25th. It's also a very special day for us. It's the 4 planets, they're aligning on this date. And so you are able to see the planetary alignment will energize personal growth and productivity. It says the celestial event featuring the key planets like Jupiter and Saturn offer the opportunity for transformation, clarity, and success. And then we also have on that day our Rewire. It's our 1 day event. It's all day long. We're having various different speakers and all the guest speakers that you love. They're going to come on. They're going to do various different activations, dragging healing energy, group meditations, activations. It's going to be a fun, full day full of change and transformation. You can get your free pass there by signing up for us, with us in our inner circle at houtehustle.com. So yay! We'll send out more information and we'll put out this information on the description in your YouTube. Be sure to also subscribe and like, because we've got to tell the algorithm that we are making a change here. Yes.
Very nice.
All right. So now back to from this Jeneth note. Yeah. Want to just ask you a little bit more about diving in deep into some of those experiences that you had playing with magic.
But I think that it's like I first had all this intellectual stuff.
Okay.
Right. And then this past year, when we started doing the show, we said, these speakers are giving us these tools and these processes and these meditations, and some of them have really transported me. And that's when I really started saying, I'm going to say yes to meditation, which is one of my big, not goals, but routines.
Okay.
That I'm going to do this year.
Yeah.
Is really, truly do these meditations. I'm having a breakthrough with them. And I'm like really finding myself in kind of these bliss moments. And I feel like those bliss moments are how I think that is part coherence. And I think that that's how I'm capable of walking through this life in a very different way than I did a year ago, even 6 months ago, even.
Wow.
Where there's this force, this fight.
Yeah.
And, as we talked with Reverend Rose, it was very much, I got that I am creating this heaven on earth. It is coming from within now, instead of me like trying to say, I want a BMW, so I'll be happy, or I want to make $1 million, so I'll be happy, right? It's very much coming from, I'm happy and I'm choosing to create. It's like being drawn and being drawn more to doing this as a community and
Yes.
for humanity to help this planet,
Yeah.
to help the people on this planet.
Yep.
Instead of it's just for me to make a living or whatever it was at the very beginning of when I started this, 20 years ago.
I love that you said that. So would you say that so let me ask this question for those who are maybe listening on the replay, or, joining us on the chat, like, is there a place where you are, because I'm guilty. Is there a place, I'm already going to say I'm guilty or have been guilty in the past, is I'll play this game of I'll be happy when, or I will feel secure when.
All my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Until
And so I won't allow myself to enjoy the ride or the journey. And so then,
because you're waiting.
yeah. And do people realize that we create more of that, right? So the universe is always going to give you exactly what you ask for. And if I say, I will be happy when X, Y, Z. And so what I'm declaring to the universe is that I don't have that now, that I'm not happy, and that I'm in a place of longing and wishing and it not being here, as opposed to saying, I'm happy now and I know this is already manifested. Yeah. Let's go ahead and be with it. Right. This or something greater. Right. And do people realize that when we do that, we create a gap? And so it really separates us from those things that we say we most desire.
Yeah, we're doing the exact opposite than really truly requesting and drawing it in.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
I mean, that is not our fault. Technically, we were programmed that way from our parents in this entire reality.
We are programmed. And Valentina says, yes, I do that. I'm
yeah, you're guilty too.
I'm endeavoring to stop that. Me too. And she says, yes, I'm happy now. Yes. Yeah. I'm happy now. And then
but it has to not come from the force. You have to actually be it. And I think that's the difference, right? That I'm noticing is, there were moments in my life that I was just kind of happy-go-lucky, right? I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
And this is a joy. I get to do this show every day with my best friend.
Yes. Yes.
Sister in consciousness.
Yes.
I get to contribute and help y'all, and it really is. I've created a life finally where I get to do these things.
Yes. Right? Yes.
Instead of it's like, oh, I have to do this because I won't have any money if I don't do this.
Yeah.
And I do think that, but the truth is, even if you're working a cashier at, McDonald's or Target or whatever, you can still be happy. It doesn't like they're not incongruent.
Yes, because one of the things that we've always learned was the way in which to create more is to say, okay, I am grateful for, and maybe it's not necessarily just a straight happiness, but maybe it's more of a straight gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful for this exact job right now where I'm at because it pays, I have food, I can pay my rent, and then and I'm happy for everything that's already aligned for me, everything that's already
you have in your vision.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming, the whole shebang.
And you don't even want to say the word coming, like it's already created, manifested, actualized in if no time exists, it's already here. Right? It's already collapsed in waveform. All we have to do is remove ourselves from that gap. So I'm so happy I'm getting everything that I asked for. I'm already having it. I'm already receiving it. And then you can go from that place of like, okay, yes, I don't want to say coming, because when I keep saying coming, it feels like I'm creating that gap. And I know that it kind of seems like a little bit of space, like to say, I'm happy. I don't want people walking around saying, I'm happy, I'm happy. Tony Robbins used to say that, right? He's like, I'm happy, and people are this, right? You don't want it's not from that place. It's really from a place of, I know that what I want, what I desire desires me, and it is already actualized in another timeline, in another timeline that I can now bring into fruition today, right here.
Right.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah. No, it's just hard to explain because it's about being, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's funny because Joe Dispenza, he does this certain way of manifesting, and you put this letter down, and then like all the, heart frequencies that you would feel from it, and then all the thoughts that you think when you're having that, right? So, it's like they're both electrical and magnetic, and when they speak together, then you're in heart coherence, basically, is the fast way to say that. And so I've really worked at, how is it? What are the chemical sensations that happen through my body
oh,
when
good.
I'm like in love with my life? And there's like, and I can just say, so in love with my life. And then all this flood of like juiciness now comes through me. And I really feel like that is because I'm practicing this in these deep meditative states. And so I go into Disney already in love with my life. So it's like every step we walk, which is another story I'll mention in just a second, was profound in general, except for one moment in time. So every single day I walked over 10,000 steps.
Great, girl. Okay,
So
can I just say
my
that?
leg is healing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Jeneth has had a hip thing going on,
Yeah,
and it's a
it's
journey.
just loosen at the joint.
Yes.
But if it keeps rubbing up against the other part, it will eventually create arthritis.
Now, mind you, about 2 years ago, when she and I first started dreaming up this idea of working together again on the show, when I saw her, she was not walking at all. She was walking, I think, with a cane,
Yeah,
and
I
barely could make it into my room, my house. And I was like, I looked and I was like, wow. And we hadn't seen each other because I had been in Oregon, and I thought, this isn't the same person I know. What's going on? And
I gained a lot of weight too.
yeah,
because I wasn't doing anything.
yeah.
Exercise.
And it also can be depressing.
So I
Yes.
drink and
Yeah.
hide and
Yeah.
yeah.
So fast forward to today.
Yeah.
Wow, high five. 10,000 steps?
And hardly any pain.
Y'all, that's amazing.
I really had to work.
Look at everybody's like throwing, yes, everybody's like throwing up a high five and some cheers and saying it. But gosh, things can change, man.
Yeah, and
you can heal.
I now know that this is just a matter of time and
Damn.
going to resolve it.
I love it.
But and that though it's kind of funny, I'm like, oh, but the stem cell actually is working in the back of my head sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I'd make a justification for this human reality instead of just, no, it's really been the frequency shift. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So I've got like in my back pocket a way to say, oh, it was just the stem cell, instead of, no, it was a total frequency shift. I'm becoming a different person.
Yeah. I mean, why couldn't it be both? Why couldn't it be consciousness, uses everything?
And maybe it's starting to reactivate things because I'm like putting a bunch of energy down there to heal it.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was a huge success being able to really walk. I did have one little incident at the end of one day that we did get a wheelchair, and I was just like, that was a 14,000 step day.
Holy moly. One little incident. Different. I'd be asking for a wheelchair if it was 14,000 steps. Holy moly. Right? Yeah. Oh God, yes. Put me in a wheelchair. I'm so about that. My legs are gonna fall off right now. Great job.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it. Meaning I'm so proud that my hip is just like coming back.
Manisha says,
able to walk in alignment better. So
Valentina says, nice, Jenna.
Yes, thank
you. Dana
you.
says, high five.
Thank you.
Kisses from Valentina. Manisha says, wonderful, Jenna. I just wanted to show you some love because it's a big deal.
It's huge for me because that is like the reason I didn't want to go to Disney, because of all the walking. It's like the reason I didn't want to go to London last year.
Damn, shutting down your gifts.
So much. It was so much better this time than it was a year ago in London.
Yeah.
Because there was one day that I was literally hopping to dinner. because I just couldn't put any
Y'all,
more
this
weight on it.
stuff works.
It's so crazy.
This works. It really, really works. So tell me a little bit about the meditations that you've been doing.
Well, let's talk. Do you want to talk about the routines instead of goals? Because one of the things
Yeah,
I did,
I do.
so over the holiday, I was like, one of the goals I want this year is to, and I said this a little bit last year, more about the cleanliness and getting our house tested. But I think what I really want is to Marie Kondo my house and just really have the things I love in the places that I want them in, and the occasional bathing suit out of place, right? But I want, that's really what I want for my life. You know, I'm choosing that for me this year. And in doing that, there were some extra tables in this office that I was just kind of like, these are useless. You know, we kind of had somebody working on one of them, and if we bring in
She's
another,
still with us. She's
yeah,
just
she's
in
still
a
with
different,
us, but not working. She's working remote now. So I was like, you know, I'm done. We can work at this main desk when we're together or in a warmer Starbucks environment.
For sure, for sure.
So I started to kind of, you know, figure out what I needed to do with all this extra stuff. And in doing so, I found about 30, no kidding, 30 journals that I hadn't yet thrown away. And I put them all on one shelf over here. And every single one of them had visions, goals that I wanted for the year, resolutions. And I just opened it up and I saw what 2021 was, what 2019 was, what 2018 was. And you know what? And this would be an interesting test for you guys if you've done this in the past. You're a visionary and you like to kind of, you know, write them down and just put them away.
I do.
Consistently, I've wanted to be like a lower weight. You know, it's somewhere between 128 and 130.
Yeah.
Those 2 pounds,
Yeah.
you know, I'll fluctuate between those 2 pounds. I'm good. But yeah, those are kind of the numbers that I always have out there. I want to be 120, want to be 130. I want to, so there's a weight goal, right? There's usually a monetary goal. Now, I have done well at manifesting other things, like, you know, I got the beach house by the beach.
Yeah.
Don't really want it anymore, but I got it.
Yeah.
You know, I had the golden retriever on the board. I had you know, this cat once on a board. There's specific chairs and tables in my house that those exact ones that were on my board, I actually did have, you know, or had at one point. And I thought, this is interesting. You know, most of the things on these lists are stuff, right? They're things. They're things, they're accomplishments. And I do think it's good to have these accomplishments. But one of my huge awarenesses was, I actually want more of the sensations from those things. That was the first one. But then the second one was, well, there aren't any practices or routines around having these things. You know, I'm not, you know, eating a certain way to actually lose that weight. I'm not, you know, consistently exercising to change that weight, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the best example. You know, and it
they
just
were out
really got
there.
me to go, okay, I want routines this year instead of goals. You know, so one of the routines is I'm going to cardio 150 minutes every week.
Which you already did with all those steps, girl.
Well, I have this year so far.
Yeah.
And I get close to that with swimming. But it's getting chilly and it's really cold going in and out of a very warm swim spot right now.
So do you have to adjust your routine? So
I'm gonna have to figure out how to get other cardio in.
So basically what you would like to do is create routines. So you know, creating
to create and meditation is one of the routines in there, which I'm going to go into the field and continue to ask for the other things.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've got, you know, cardio. I've got Marie Kondo just kind of consistently doing it all year.
Yep.
I've got I have to actually look at the board. I'm getting up at 7 a.m. every morning. I'm getting my meditation in. So that's one together. And then, oh, and the last one I think was, I do want to work on biking so that I can bike Napa Valley maybe in May or June.
Nice.
So I'm
That sounds
thinking
so cool.
about getting one of those like stationary bikes or
Yeah,
Peloton,
like a Peloton. Yeah.
like thing.
So I'm curious if anybody has any routines that they have elected for themselves. I like this idea. I like this because it doesn't just set the goal outside of ourselves. What it does is it's like, okay, I'm going to choose. It's almost like choosing a timeline. I'm going to choose this and I'm going to choose this, right? And you're like, okay, well, I can't choose the swimming. So I'm going to shift and I'm going to choose this other thing and plug and play, right? So that when you're back into the season of swimming, it'll still be that routine, right? It's like that kind of like, and I guess I'm seeing it like timelines, like you're inserting this and you're inserting these routines to create then this, achievable goal, if you will, or this achievable something instead of just saying, okay, I have this out there.
Yeah. And all of these are really out of my comfort zone. I mean, I'm like, sort of rolling out of bed at 9 or had been until our Disney trip when Joe was getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning to run.
And isn't it really cool though, when you create the routines, is like you get to shift and play with it some more. Like if one thing, for example, Dana right here says, I started a new routine, workout routine, go girl, on the 31st and the first. It's the first one she actually likes. Like, what if she had said, I'm gonna start a new routine and she hated it, right? Like she was like, oh, this is not working, like whatnot. Then you get to shift and choose again. Like that's the part that has that so much grace. And that's what the part I really love about this concept is that you get to kind of plug and play what works, right? Right now, the swimming's not working for you. So you're going to choose a different one to put in there.
Right.
And
that I usually don't, by the way.
Yeah.
I have other fitness equipment. I usually don't use it.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm right there with you. I just cleaned out my big room, so that's the clearing and the declutter. Oh man, I have some really fun things planned for what I want to feel like. And that's it, right? Like many thought leaders, they all come back to one thing. Everything that we uh want to have as our stuff, do be, have, whatnot. It's because of the way we believe it'll make us feel by achieving XYZ, right?
Yeah.
It's all about a feeling.
Come on, it will make us feel that way.
Right.
But it may just be a moment in time too.
Right. But what if we could, and this comes all the way back around, what if we could allow ourselves to start having glimpses of that feeling now, even stepping into that reality now, and then collapsing time to where you then start to have that feeling and you're bringing it into your current reality.
Yes.
Like right now, we just get really quiet and be like, okay, I'm going to step into the reality of me having already done 3 months of workouts, right?
Yeah.
3 months of like just 20-minute cardio 3 times a week or whatever, right? What do I feel like? Am I moving my body? Do I feel better? What does my clothes feel like? What is, do I feel like my hair feels better on myself?
Right.
Like, right?
You look younger. You feel
better. My smile feels bigger, right? All of these things. And that's a physical element that does create it actualizes in our current reality, right?
Yeah, love it.
So why wouldn't we just give ourselves that opportunity to just create from that feeling and then create routines that help us create that feeling more often?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it'll actually give me more time to play in the field with my vision. If I'm on a bike, why not just kind of go into the field then and work on manifesting with every pedal, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to do it just through meditation. So some of these other things, I'm actually like, how can I be in this, energy space, consciousness, and my choices every single moment of the day? Because a lot of times people can go into meditation and actually have a glimpse, yet then they come out and then they look at their checking account, or they, trip over their dog or something, and suddenly they're in this like misery again,
Yeah.
right? They've just snapped right back, and that's not really a contribution. The contribution then becomes like being this all the time, because then you can be this frequency that affects everyone else, even in a soul cycle class.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, I think one of the things that might help our audience here is kind of, can you give us a little bit of idea of what your meditation kind of looks like?
Oh yeah, I wanted to share that with you
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, great. Thanks. Because this seems like to be the secret sauce lately.
Figuring this out, and I don't do it exactly Joe Dispenza too much, because I've got to keep my mind somewhat activated. So if you have the Gaia app, which I know some people do, and
if you don't, we'll get you a
but if you
link.
don't, but I think this also on a lot of it is on Amazon Prime. There's this man, his name's Stephen Greer, and he does this work called CE5. It's called For Close Encounters of the Fifth Dimension. And what he does is he brings like these groups together, and they get into this heart coherence in a very certain way. He has a certain way of meditating. And in this coherence, they literally call in from I guess from the Andromeda galaxy, that's like right outside of the Milky Way, from my understanding. It's the next one. And they call in, and these beings can just show up, and they contribute, and they're benevolent. And I just really got totally geeked out. I mean, talk about going, outside of everything.
Yeah.
But, he has evidence and, showing how things show up and things like that. Anyway, the meditation that he uses is now one of my favorite ways to get into the field, because sometimes with just Joe Dispenza, and I'll be listening to Joe Dispenza and still doing this in my mind, because he, will be like, can you put your awareness on your throat in space? And then he'll pause for a long time, and during that pause, I'll like go out and daydream, or I will fall asleep, right?
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I can put it on my awareness on my throat right then, and then now what are we doing? I have to keep my mind so activated. So what Stephen Greer does is he invocates through Sanskrit, kind of this like call. And then he has you in your head, and he said, don't think of it as words, but think of it as a sound or a rhythm or a frequency.
Yep.
And it's I am Nama. I am Nama. Now I've changed up the words too, because I've used my spiritual name in there too. Because it is still an I am, but it's like I am Nama, I am Nama, and he sings it. And then so he has you kind of sing that in your head while you're paying attention to your breathing as well.
Nice.
So you're like, I am Nama, and you're thinking that while you're noticing you breathe in and out.
Yeah.
So I can do those things while I'm listening to Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
And I will start to visualize me actually traveling in space. And that has been my key to get there faster.
I love this.
Yeah. I had to.
Joe says multitasking question mark.
Because then I don't daydream or go, what was I thinking about in that dream?
Yeah.
Or what are we going to talk about on the show?
How long does your meditation last?
It's usually 30 minutes.
And you're doing these every morning?
I'm starting.
Beautiful.
I've started to, after I got seriously, I got a stomach bug the first day of the year.
Yes, and I was
and then I was like,
and do the show with you.
I made a commitment not to drink, try January, this, that, and the other. I'm like, this isn't an illness that was alcohol induced. I'm
She
promising
messaged
you.
me. Yeah, she's like, actually, Joe
I was like,
messaged me, and he's like, she's been up all night, and I'm pretty sure it was like the
Nova,
norovirus.
yeah.
And basically stomach bug,
Yeah.
really bad, gnarly stomach bug. And I knew because I knew someone else who just
Just
had
had
it. And I thought, oh, so I immediately pivot. Was not going to come to the house and
No,
do the
thank
show.
God you didn't.
Yeah.
Because he ended up getting it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. So, but you said that you had a full-on cleansing, cleansing and clearing and reset, and you couldn't like
day.
Oh my God.
And
Yes.
I was having like all these like lucid trips. And my husband's like, please take a couple of Tylenols. And I'm like, oh, I'm having fun. You don't understand. I mean, I know I've got this like massive headache too.
Yeah.
And I was so tired for just 2 days.
Yeah.
I was just in and out, in and out. One time I was like watching TV and holding my iPad too, like I was trying to game or something. I don't know what I was trying to do. And my husband comes in and says a question to me, and he was like, and I'm like, I'm sleeping. And he's like, no, you're not. You're looking at your iPad. Your eyes are open.
Wow.
And I was just like gone.
Wow.
But man, it really got me really playing with, okay, I have this spiritual name that I got in meditation. I tried to change it just to make sure. I was like, I'm gonna be like totally open.
That is
just
something Jeneth
sure
would totally do.
Making this up. And when I got reconnected, they're like, yes, you have multiple names, but basically your core name is Ormetus.
Pretty.
And it has that little accent with it. And I was some priestess on this one planet. I had a specific role, and that role was healing bodies.
Yeah. Wow. That is also in
and I'm like
afraid
to even really go there and talk about it, except we just talked with
Rose,
I just think it's
Reverend
like
Rose Hope, and she just told us that
really normal.
yeah
Right. Yeah. But she was telling me on the previous show that that's gonna air next. To express this.
Yes,
it's time.
Yeah.
So I thought, so this is my step into expressing it. But yeah, it's like all this information and exactly what I do. There was other information on like how I can invocate and call it into a body.
Yep.
As almost like a code, which was freaking cool.
That's so neat.
So I'm gonna someday try that when our community grows and I get to work on bodies again. It just seems that I haven't done a lot of actual hands-on work lately.
Oh, I'm sure that's coming. In fact, when you were talking about it and y'all uncovered that, I was getting glimpses already of like what's to be and how we'll be participating, how the community will be participating, how we'll be participating with them. And I was like, oh, like, yay, that sounds so yummy. Like, imagine being able to just really be able to have people step into that new form of magic that you're creating, right? Like magic with bodies and magic with
it's like what's really possible
truth
here
for you. Yeah.
I'm really excited to explore this. The funny thing that she said, and I got this through one of those lucid moments, was speak on stages. And I mean, didn't really feel like I know it's a lot of work to speak on stages, but I didn't really feel like I was trying to go out to manifest that. But I had got that in that lucid dream on the 2nd.
Wow.
Of January, and then you get whisked off to Disney.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really actively calling that to be, but I knew that is a part of it.
Yep. I was gonna put that on my visual board. In fact, what's funny is like the last couple of days I've been feeling super blank, like
super blank. like yeah, I know, but that's because
you were gone and I was running the show after everything kind of wrapped up for those pieces that had to be done. I got some other stuff done ready for the January 25th show, the whole big summit. So I got that piece done. But between that, I was feeling like gosh, and maybe it was the energies, but I felt like I had a fever dream. I wanted to sleep. I was getting annoyed with myself for just wanting to sleep.
So
What
you
else?
had pretty much what I had.
Yeah,
Just you're in a healthier way
it's
without
right.
the fun of vomiting.
And then I was like, I don't know why. Like, so then I felt like, where am I going? Even though I have all these things that I know on my like to-do list, they're pieces, but I was kind of just in a piece, like a stuck, and I felt blank. And I looked over and I had taken down my old vision board, which I always had up, but I've done all those fun things on my vision board, y'all. Like I really have manifested my vision board. And if I haven't manifested something on that board, it's because something else better has come into my life. So, but in the interim, I put up a blank vision board.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've had it there for 3 weeks. And when I turned around and I looked, I was like, no shit, I'm blank.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I have nothing on my board because I was gonna get it ready to do this, like whatever, and I was gonna write it all out or whatever, right? Put the new pictures and be on a stage, whatever those things are, right? And the community, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But when I stood there and I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh. And because I use that methodology so much, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder. I almost put it on. I'm gonna put it on Instagram so y'all can see. Like I was creating blankness. So immediately turned my other vision board back around.
You're like,
I have stuff there. Let's keep some stuff. And now I can add and really come from a place of, instead of me having, be, do, have, whatever, I'm gonna tap into when I create this new vision board, and I'm gonna do it tonight. Like I am like no more blank girl.
Right.
I'm going to come from the place of I already have this. What is that feeling?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take myself into what does it feel like to be on stage? I know I'll be nervous because that's just my MO. And or I'll better stop that. I'll stop that. But I also know that those nerves are going to be excitement, right? Me being able to share in a way that I know brings freedom to other people, that they can create their lives because I am seeing it firsthand now, is so exciting to me. And so I'm going to step into that feeling whenever I'm creating each aspect of that board so that I'm creating each aspect of my life from that place. Valentina says mine was physical too, cold sleeping. So she was talking about how she just had these crazy feelings as well. She said hers was physical, cold sleeping and resting a lot. I still don't really know what I have and I'm experiencing right now.
Oh boy.
But you give yourself some grace because I mean, it could be
I do feel
all
like
of that.
In this case, I mean, who doesn't want to detox the first day of the year?
Yeah.
There was just like so much came to me, and there was just such a gift for this illness. And it was, and when I felt better, I called Lyanca and I was like, told you a lot more benefits than I remember now. But it was just so cool that I was in this space of just like, well, I can't do anything physically. And I felt bad for bowing out on the show on the second because I like just wanted to start the year, right?
And then you realize,
and then I realized that then what happened was we got a team member up to speed on things that I was doing and I solely. So, I delegated, and then they had a better second week while I actually was on my trip and I wasn't sick by then.
And you said you were able to relinquish control, and I thought that was so super
that's
fucking
probably
cool.
The biggest, right?
Because who doesn't sometimes be like, I gotta do this and I gotta make sure everybody's okay while I'm gone. And what if they need me? And like overly try to control stuff, especially like in our jobs and with our kids, whatever, right? Like especially when you're about to go away for a trip. And you were like, I didn't have a choice.
No, I didn't have a choice. Like that was happening to me. And I was like, dang, I didn't want to manifest this, but then at another end, I wanted to manifest it all because I wanted to detox. I wanted to, delegate all those things to Carol. And that was like the way that it was forced upon me.
And I had to make sure I had all my ducks in a row because it was forced upon me.
I wanted to practice relinquishing control, which I almost feel like I've accomplished that because you guys ran this show
It was
just
great.
on your own last
Yeah,
week with
it was
nothing
great.
from me.
Yeah. I was excited that we didn't have to call you one time. Like
No.
she does a lot
I
of the
was paying
technical.
attention too, and I was like, all right, this newsletter looks really good.
Yeah,
It's better
yeah.
than when I did it.
You're funny. And
So,
she does a lot of the technical like right on the spot. And so for me to manage all that,
Yeah.
of course, I had to let people in and do
I've
this stuff.
gone back and looked at things entirely. So
But
sure,
I
fine.
felt really great, and it was really cool to be able to. It allowed me to step into that higher role as well,
Right.
without having to like turn around and be like, what, I
Yeah.
need something.
Right.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, there was
So that's a gift.
actually, I did ask for that virus.
Yeah.
Not in actually saying, hey, I want a stomach bug, but heck, I would sure rather have a stomach bug than a cold.
Yeah.
Oh my
True.
goodness, those are just like, and they last so long, and then they end with all this gross
I'm not talking
coughing.
about it.
And Joe Dispenza says you keep doing this work and you'll elevate so that you've got so much of a strong immune system that you won't get any of those anyway.
So what was the takeaway here? Doing the meditation, finding the meditation that works for you.
Finding
Adding
a
that-
way of meditation.
Yes.
for you.
Oh, I like that. Yes. And I think Valentina had a question a little bit earlier. She's like, you might want to scroll up because I thought it was a really good question about how meditating.
Okay.
She says a little bit earlier. But anyway, so the takeaways are, finding a meditation that works for you, adding that in as a routine.
Mhm.
So that you can create from the place this place and the space that you most desire, and then, or choose to be.
Yeah.
And then also being the frequency of of already having it,
Mhm.
even if it's just for a couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean,
And try and expand that just a little bit more and a little bit
keeping it.
more. And that's what the meditations help you do too,
Well,
right?
I found and I never thought I'd be a meditator.
Yeah, I love it. I
But
love
I
it.
now know that this is the way.
Yes.
This is the way to
It's
the
like
force.
It's like a for real magic wand. It's like for
Yeah.
real magic wand. It is
Well, when you figure out,
everywhere.
but it did take me probably 3 months of just wanting to just fall asleep, and
I get
and I mean, I was doing my own hypnosis stuff
Yeah.
before I was doing Joe Dispenza. So I was a little bit familiar, and I do a little bit better with that because it does keep my mind active, right? Because you're imagining things, you're going into fields, there's golden lights. Oh, you guys, that last meditation I've listened to probably 25 times. If you haven't heard that, and you're in the lounge, I'll give it to you. But if you aren't in the lounge, it's $22 in the main shop. But it is wild. Like
Exciting.
it's a 5D hypnosis. I was actually thinking, I think that's my one of my next things is calling these a 5D hypnosis session because it's just really fun to go play in the field and also play with the alpha imagination.
Nice.
Just really seeing your body change with it. Shira's had a lot of benefits with weight loss. There's a one in there on weight loss as well.
Nice.
This last one was on addiction, except it was more like addicted to your stories.
I like that.
Right.
Yes.
Addicted to hiding.
Yeah. Wow. No wonder you created that like full on purge.
Right. That was like 2 days before.
It says, thank you. Manisha says I did a good job holding it down. Oh, let's see. During that, Dana says she had an amazing experience in that meditation. Awesome. And then a new chapter in life. And then also True Wave joining us on YouTube says, oh my gosh, Shara, 22 pounds. You lost 20. She said,
is that how much she's lost?
Dude. Okay, I'm listening.
Ooh, I'm taking that to
Yeah.
Let's screenshot that one.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. So which that's a hypnosis, 5D hypnosis dedicated to weight loss.
Yes.
That is in the shop, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. Yep. I'll have to do that one some more, y'all. And then it says
that's a good one too.
It does sound like a good one. And then True Wave Energy says, you two should come and meditate with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then bring your awesome collective energy and visit your collective. Yes, absolutely. And then also there was some comments in True Wave Energy says a blank slate is still something. I like that too.
Yes.
About how I was
Well,
creating. And
yeah.
Joe said the same thing on our chat.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you feel blank, which is a little bit different than having like the
A blank
spacious,
slate. Yeah.
yeah, like the spacious blank slate of energy.
Yeah.
And it depends also, like, were you triggered by it? Were you like, ugh, or were you just
No,
kind of
actually, I was I was glad that I found this awareness. And then from that awareness, I was able to say, oh, cool. Now I'm excited about putting stuff on that board and I'm doing it, y'all.
Yeah,
Like,
because that was your awareness.
yes.
Like, oh, okay, great. This is my
now I
boundary.
have space.
Yeah.
Now I have, now I can be with that blank space, right? That blank slate. And like, and now I'm excited to put stuff on there where instead of honestly, I had it kind of there as a to-do. Right? So there we go.
That's funny because this year, for whatever reason, I couldn't wait to figure out my like 5 things I wanted to do that was outside of my comfort zone.
Nice.
Like I was like, I'm doing this.
Oh, that's the other takeaway. So there, if you can, maybe, maybe choose some routines that are
instead of goals.
Yeah, instead of goals that are 5 things that are outside of your comfort zone or right up against, right? Like right on that. Does it make you feel, sometimes does it make you feel nervous, but really sometimes our nerves are just misdirected and, misstated as excitement. I mean, sometimes we think that they are stuff we don't want to do, but really, like me speaking on a stage, I'm excited to do those things.
Yeah. Well, too. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it nerves or is it excitement? Let's see. Joe says, I'm actually gaining weight because of that first meditation. First time in my life feeling better. Oh, Joe, I was thinking about you and you bringing in those electrolytes in your life too. So, yeah, that's super exciting. Y'all, we're having some profound changes that people keep writing us about and keep letting us know. And I think that's what the biggest takeaway from this call is. And what else can we create for 2025?
Yeah. Yeah. And let's do it together.
Yep.
I really want you guys to feel like a part of the show.
You are a part of the show.
Yeah. Every comment, every question leads to a deeper conversation. If we can just archive all this on, the YouTube comments so that we can see, I mean, literally, we can just like watch the comments. They're going to always be there and we'll see where we navigate next. This is going to be a great year.
Yeah, I'm excited. True Wave Energy asked Jeneth Lyanca, says, have you noticed how everything is speeding up? The veil is lifting. Yes. And I've even had some people.
I don't get it. Lifting,
like speeding. So everything is speeding up. Like, do you notice that ever?
Yeah, well, I have in the past.
Yeah, me too. I feel like now, like I used to notice it so much. Yeah, Valentina's like time is moving fast. Yes, definitely. No, even my son says it, and I go, really, dude? Because I remember the time between, Thanksgiving and New Year and Christmas. Not this year, because this year was like extremely fast. But in general, I remember being a kid, and it seemed like forever before, between that time. And I asked Ryzen, my son, because sometimes your mind will do it in perspective of how old you are. And he said, no, time moves fast for me too. And I think it's because he knows that because he's an old soul, but he knows that time is like fast. He can experience it. And I thought, wow, that's really strange for kids to say that. Also, I mean, it really is. It's like time. It feels like, okay, so True Wave Energy says the vibrational frequency of our planet is increasing. Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank God. I mean, it's got to somehow. I mean, some of these people can only fight it so long.
And it says, would it be possible for some tips for vision board? Absolutely. Absolutely. Would love to do that. In fact, we have a whole thing planned around that too. So we should probably roll that out soon and talk about that, which brings me into the next couple things that we want to talk about and some announcements for this year.
Yeah, big announcements and perfect time for some fun.
Yeah. So
just a reminder, if you're not subscribed to YouTube and this channel, please subscribe and make a comment.
Thank you. And then also, just a reminder, also, like, wanted to remind you that how Hustle, we always believe in giving back. So if you wanted to find a way to maybe help the fires in California, just email us at team@houthustle.com. We put something together for that. And then we also help rising.up.org. It's a charity that provides laptops to people in need for help in wellness and education. I know for me, the wellness does come from being able to have this forum here on the internet. And if I didn't have a place to connect with people, if it was before the internet times, I think I would probably be a little bit Z-er than I am now. Because it is the community like this that really allows me to feel non-judgment and to come here and feel love. So I hope that you feel that too in this community. And we want to invite you to be a part of this community by signing up to join our newsletters. You'll be in our inner circle. You're going to get the free gifts that we have online. And then you'll also get the pass when we release it for the January 25th event. It's called the Rewire Summit.
Yep.
Jenna, tell us a little bit about why we call it the Rewire.
The vision was that we bring on just the speakers we had last year that could do like true quantum activations, like the one that Ambajam Rose did, where she's like, we're traveling, and we all knew we were traveling.
Oh, yes.
So I thought it would be freaking cool to just have activation. I think some of them are going to present more, but there's going to be free gifts for every single speaker, and there's going to be no special offers.
Like, they're not going to make any offers the whole time.
The only offer is the freebie.
Yeah. So
it's all free. You get to do the show with us live on a Saturday, which a lot of people can't because they're working and they watch the show at night. So they get to be with us live, and it will just be all free gifts.
And we're changing out speakers every 30 minutes. So the speaker will come on, for example, like Teresa does her dragon channel activation. So she'll come on, do that sound energy dragon activation. And then next we'll have Ambajam come and take us, travel through time. Like, it'll be so amazing. And you're going to want to listen to it again. We'll have it up for that duration.
We have it up for a few days. And then we are going to sell that as a package, by the way.
Yeah. And so basically it's just going to be, we aligned it up with the planet's alignment so that you can really integrate these new energies and really, really just utilize this time for creating your own ascension. I mean, it really is about rewiring your DNA.
Yep.
And like, to take it all the way forward, so you can have that best life. Like, you could have that business, you could have that creation come to fruition. You could be like Shara and have those 22 pounds come off. Girl, good job, yay. And it really is a place where you just be like, all right, I'm gonna go with it, because I know that's what I've experienced firsthand on this show. So it's like a whole day full of just downloads and people to bring through those downloads for you. So again, www.houthustle.com to get onto our list for that. And then you can always grab the $8 frequency, which is our enhancement. It's these different wave frequencies that it's all audios that you can grab in advance to the January 25th. It's called an enhancer, and it's just $8. The value
a lot of you guys probably already have it and selling it from before.
Yep.
But we do want you guys to have that, because it just like moves you into a different state, and it does it so fast.
Yep. And it helps to lower that, that negative talk. It helps to lower that little part of your ego that says, this isn't working. It just puts you into a different mood. And then also for the other different announcements that we are just excited to have you be in our world. Continue to join us, continue to show the algorithm that we are creating a movement here. And it's all about that.
Also, the lounge is getting a little bit of a makeover. The lounge is today, by the way, and we will we are closing it, but we'll open it after the planets align. So it'll be open for February, by the way.
Yes.
It's getting a little remodel and remake, and we're gonna do some things together in a different way.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. If you have questions about how to join the lounge, just email us at team@houtehustle.com
If you
with
have questions or anything.
And then finally, if you've already signed up for our newsletter, just go ahead and sign up again because you're going to get all new emails. You'll get the new gifts for the 2025. And then just to make sure that you are getting the free pass to the January 2025, January 25th, 2025 event. We don't want you to miss it. So it's all at houtehustle.com. That information will also be in the description on YouTube. I feel like I've been talking for a long time.
It's like, you good announcements though.
And then just always wanted to remind you, really what we're created this is that, Haute Hustle is basically a redefinition for today's Haute and Hustle. And I always wanted to say this is a movement.
Yeah.
And this is really about a movement for responsibly conscious brands and services that we bring to you and the different speakers and the different ideas so that we can really elevate the earth and give back to Gaia and to ourselves and just be the contribution to raising the vibration and being the frequency.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Absolutely.
Thank you all. I think my voice is gone.
And I will be back on Thursday.
Yep.
Same time, same place,
Yes.
9 a.m. Pacific.
We have Emily,
Yeah.
Emily is next Tuesday, and on Thursday it's us. So we get to do a very special show. We're going to do some activations ourselves and bring you some juicier magic and possibly also show you some. I might even bring in some of those tips from my vision board so I can show you firsthand of what I did. And then also how we can, utilize the object.
We could do our vision board together during that show and have them work on it while we're in meditation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to, is to have Jeneth show her a little bit of meditation and me open the record so that it can be assistance for us all. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're Haute Hustle, and you can visit us at houtehustle.com.
Bye, everyone.